Oh my gosh. Okay, this has been a week and I have got a lot to cover today. So let's dive right in with some of the important stuff. We're going to be covering some news from the yarny world, a couple of different pieces of information that you definitely want to stay tuned for. We're also going to be talking about the progress that I've been making on all of my various whips and yeah, just kind of doing a little update here on the weekly check-in. So let's start off with what the heck am I wearing? The duds that I have on today. This is the Vivian top, and it is by Isabela Firlova. Pharaoh will make sure that we have that correct. The Vivian top by Isabela Firlova, and her website I think is IF Crochet. So this was probably I think the third top that I made. I made this in February of last year, and I definitely learned a lot with it. Being the third one, I think it was actually my first successful top that I'm like, yeah, I actually did something really great with that. I still think it's a little bit on the large side, but overall, I'm pretty happy with this. And I probably would actually make it again. Yeah, I'd probably make it again. Although there's so many great patterns out there, it's kind of hard to just turn around and make it again. So there you go. All right, let's talk about some big news in the yarn world. The first one that I want to mention is this update right here from Hirschner's. They officially have the Big Twist and the K&C yarn on their website. Now, the website says that they have limited quantities, so don't go out and rush buy everything that you need. No, you can go ahead and do that. We're not going to fault you for it. I'm actually not a big fan of the Big Twist for the most part. I don't use that kind of acrylic yarn, but I am really glad to see that they're going to be carrying the K&C. This is good news because from what I have seen from some other YouTubers, the the Big Twist yarn that Michaels has picked up that they have relabeled as their loops and threads is not quite the same as the original Big Twist was. So they've changed something in their formulation or something along those lines, so it is not feeling like the same kind of yarn. And so far I've only seen them pick up, Michaels has only picked up two that I'm familiar with, the Baby Bear and the Posh. And so they have both of those now in a loops and threads version. I think the Baby Bear is Farah. Farah will tell you what the names of the loops and threads versions are because I can't remember right off the top of my head. Hirschner's, on the other hand, has kept the Big Twist and the K&C label. So everything there is the same. I believe that the product is going to be the same. There's not going to be any changes on that end. And it appears that they have much more than just two different options. I've seen at least 6 different Big Twists and K&Cs on their website just from my quick browsing. I'll put the website so you can see it here. And so that's good news. I think they're going to carry a lot more of the Big Twist and the K&C than Michaels is picking up. So now, granted, that means that you're going to actually have to order online. And if you don't care to order online, that's, unfortunate that Michaels doesn't seem to be picking up more of it. Maybe they will as time goes on, but for the time being, they only have the two, and they're the chunkier weight ones, not the worsted or, all that kind of good stuff. So that sort of leads us to the next big news that's kind of going around the yarn circles right now regarding ordering online and ordering from KnitPicks.com. Now, I've ordered from KnitPicks in the past. I just actually, spoiler alert, placed an order for We Crochet, who is owned by KnitPicks, so they're one and the same, so I'm a little bit nervous. There is some information going out online that says that KnitPicks, at least one of their warehouses, I believe it's the Ohio warehouse, has been shipping out yarn that is contaminated with bugs. Ew. Now, I cannot verify this, but I wanted to bring you the information just in case you are purchasing from KnitPicks or We Crochet. I'm not sure if they use the same warehouses or not, but I wanted to bring it to your attention just in case. I live in Arizona, so when I get the shipment from We Crochet, I'm probably going to put it in a nice big black bag. And since it's still reaching 110 plus degrees, I'll probably actually throw it in the back of my car. And when I have to go out for the day, just leave it in the back of my car to bake for a few hours and kill any critters, because the worst case scenario here is that it does have bugs and it infests the rest of your yarn collection. That would be catastrophic. So some people are saying that they're silverfish, some people are saying that they're carpet beetles, some people are saying that they're clothing moths. Because there's a lot of variation, I'm questioning the authenticity of these reports, but at the same time, it's better safe than sorry. So I'm definitely going to do my due diligence on anything that I do purchase from them and make sure that I have followed some of the bug killing practices that are out there. There's one where you freeze your yarn and there's one where you heat your yarn. I'm not going to kind of go through all the details. You can certainly Google that and make sure that if you do that, that you take care of your yarn. And at the very least, seal the yarn that you have purchased from those stores in a Ziploc bag so that it does not contaminate other yarns that you might have. So that's the kind of yarny news and update. And if that's all you were here for, see ya. But if you want to stay for everything else, then I gotta fix this squeaky chair. I think I need to have my husband oil this with some WD-40, but hopefully we'll get through this. Okay, I apologize in advance if it's a little squeaky and you can hear it. If I could put a thought to this week, it would be like watching a really fabulous movie only to have the power go out right before you get to the climactic finish. That's what this week has been for me. And I'll tell you why. Because I had 2 projects that I thought I was going to be finishing this week, and both of them ran into issues, and I was not able to finish either one of them. So frustrating. So it's been a bit stressful because of that. And I have to remind myself that that's part of the artistic process, that yes, I was so excited about getting these 2 things finished. No, they didn't get finished. That's totally okay. They will be finished at some point. So let's go through my current whips. First of all, we have that granny square blanket. Did not do anything on that, so we'll just next. Next is the denim jacket over here, little Missy. And this is one of those where I was so excited to have her all finished. I had gone down, I don't remember last week if I told you this, but I thought that I was going to do 4x4 on the sleeves for these granny squares, and it turned out I only needed 3x3. So I have way more granny squares left over. However, I have a couple of challenges, and actually, as I'm looking at it, I'm kind of not as challenged as I was a week ago. So after I videoed last week, I got this all assembled. She's been hanging out here with me for a week. And my initial thought was when I wanted this color combo, I wanted it to have more pop, more pizzazz versus the denim jacket. And when I first attached the sleeve, I had two problems. One was that I did not feel like it had that pizzazz that I was going for. And two is that I used a fingering weight yarn, and I kind of felt like maybe this was not holding up as well as I thought. I thought that there was a lot more drag on this. But as time goes, I'm not as bothered by that as I was earlier this week. And in fact, I'm not as bothered by the color as I was earlier this week. But I didn't take notes on how I attach the sleeve. And so I'm not sure I'm going to be able to duplicate this sleeve on that side because I didn't write down the number of stitches that I used or anything like that. Oh man, is that a rookie mistake? So I'm either going to have to figure that out, or I'm going to have to go with new sleeves and use these for something else. If I finish this, I'll do some sort of a cuff. I don't know. I'm really on the fence with this. It's really driving me nuts because I thought that this was going to be like, oh my gosh, jaw-droppingly stunning. And once I attached it, I did not get that vibe. So I was a little disappointed. So I've been kind of brainstorming. I've kind of been going back and forth. I thought maybe I'd use this red. This is a worsted weight, but it's got the little bumpies on it. And I feel like this is just not, like I have enough of this, but I feel like it's just too lightweight. It would just hang there. There would be nothing special to it. So I nixed this one. Then I was thinking about this. This is, for some reason, I like bumpy yarn. This also has kind of the bumpies to it and works up very kind of grunge. And I like that grunge. And I kind of like the coral with this denim jacket. So, but I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to have enough of this, which is the story of my life right now. I have so much scrap yarn, but I just don't know if I have enough of any of it. And I don't mean scrap. I mean, there's a decent quantity of it, but I just don't know that it's enough to do 2 full sleeves of it. So I was thinking about that. And then I came up with the idea of using this really pretty nylon kind of metallic yarn paired with the black. And when I did up a swatch of this, I really loved it. It was stunning. But again, I'm not sure if I have enough of this, and I'm not sure I can replace it. So I'm not sure that this is going to be an option either. And I'm like, oh, every one of my really great ideas, I just am not sure that I have enough. And I don't want to do an entire sleeve and a half only to lose yarn chicken, because I've already put in 20 hours into doing these sleeves. And maybe I'm just going to go back to this and figure out how I attached it, because how I did this black part at the top, because at least then I can get it done faster. I probably only would have then like maybe 2 or 3 more hours. I don't know, but I have to make that decision. I have to come to a conclusion on that, because I'm just agonizing over it, and it's just exhausting. Okay, so let's move her over here. Give her some space. The other project that I've been working on is the Harbor cardigan, and I am going to insert comically large sleeve here. I didn't do a video of it, but I followed the pattern, and the sleeve was like way down here. So I attached it, I tried it on, and it was horrible. And I had already made both sleeves of that same length. So again, I kind of got stopped mid-process because I'm like, gosh dang it. Ugh. Cue Farrah Frog it, because I had to frog back those sleeves. First, I frogged it back a little way, thinking, well, maybe I can just take out a couple of rounds. But the problem is that it's worked from the wrist up so that it's wide enough in the armpit area. So if I frog it back, I'm going to lose increases. So then I ended up having to frog back the entire thing so that I could rework the increases with less rounds. And here's what I have right now. Okay, so we're going to try this baby on for you. Okay, so this is much better. This is probably a little on the short side right now, but to be honest, I would way rather too short than too long, because one, it's going to have a little bit of stretch over time, and two, I hate rolling the sleeves up, so I would rather just have it too short. So I ended up working this back. I did less of the repeats, and I changed the increase so that I could still get the same increase stitches overall. So I'm happy with the length of it. I can block it and get a little bit more length out of it. Oh, the other thing is I did change the hook size for the bottom part versus the top part, just to kind of get a little bit more tightness in there. And I am working on sleeve number 2. So that's all I have of that so far. It is just so frustrating to be in this process where I got so far along. I really thought I was going to have this jacket and this cardigan done by today, and they're not. This is probably, I should have this done by next week. That one I don't know, because I don't know what I'm going to do with the sleeves. So that's where I am on that. It's been a frustrating crochet week for sure. So as I was working on this, I started brainstorming what was I going to do next with the other jackets that I have. So I have this one that has these nice kind of rivet details up here. And I have this yarn from Hobbii Lobby in a very Southwest kind of color tone. And I think this is going to look great with this. Normally, I would not use the lesser priced yarn on these. I really want to use the higher end yarns because I just think it elevates the piece overall. But I think this is such a perfect yarn for this that I'm going to be totally okay using this yarn. So the next thing I got to do on this one is figure out the overall stitch pattern. And I think I'm going to keep it fairly simple and blocky. I mean, some pieces are going to call for more of a lacy, like the very first jacket that I did. Some are going to be more blocky. So it just kind of depends on the jacket, what kind of stitch pattern. And that, again, is a very time-consuming part. Do you feel me? Do you feel for me? Can you totally relate? Let me know in the comments below. So we have that one over there. And then I have the white one, which I have already removed one of the sleeves. So we've got that sleeve off, and my thought process was originally to use this yarn, but this yarn is a fingering weight, So I'm not sure now that I want to use this because of the same issue that I had with the black one. Do I really want to stick with something that is at least a DK or above? That's kind of where my head is going. So, yeah, I'm stuck on that. But while I was thinking about this, I'm like, okay, this is an obscenely long skein of yarn. So I need to buy a Swift. This is a Swift. So, I have not opened this up yet. I'll do a video, whoops, showing you how it works, but hopefully I can set that up and I'll insert said video of me winding some yarn using this little guy, which opens up somehow kind of like an umbrella, I guess. Woo, maybe. I don't know. I'll have to read the instructions apparently because I'm not getting it. But this holds the yarn so that you can wind it onto a winder when you have it in this sort of I'll show you the video. Yes. So this is, oh, that's bad, sorry. This is the Swift right here. So you can see it's got all these blue kind of things, and I'll show you how that works. And then your yarn winder right there. So I am going to position this. Hopefully you can see both of those. And we're going to wind some yarn from a hank. Let's try this out. So the first thing we want to do is make sure that the yarn is on the Swift. And that the Swift is fully extended. It's making you want to rush right out and get one, isn't it? Like that. Okay, step one done. Now I need my scissors to cut all these little ends off, which are keeping this tied together. Okay, that might be the beginning. Okay, hopefully that'll do it. All right, we're having some success now.
Minutes later.
We have a cake. So I did make that purchase. And again, I did buy some yarn from We Crochet because I wanted to get some thicker weight yarn. And there was a couple other projects that I have been waiting to buy yarn from We Crochet. And so they've been sitting in my cart. So I'm like, all right, well, let me buy a heavier weight yarn to see what that's like. Maybe I'll use it with the white one. I don't know, but at least I'll have it on hand. So as I was struggling with those two patterns, I decided to move on to chaining on my next project. And for that, I am going to be using this Hobbii Rococo, which is a cotton linen blend. And I think this is such a pretty colorway with the cream and just a little bit of kind of a brownish purple. It's just a really nice colorway. So I needed a simple pattern, something that was really going to allow the texture of this yarn to stand out, and that was going to be a little bit on the mindless side of things. And originally I was thinking of doing the Kissity, which is right there. And I love the front of it, but the back is very mesh, and I really didn't want that. If the back and the front were very similar, I probably would have done the Kissity, and to be truthful, I probably could actually modify it so that I just did the back and the front as two panels, but I didn't want to have to think about it. I wanted something easy. So I am going with the Sweet Summer Tea, which is going to be really easy. I'm just doing it made to measure because her pattern uses a DK weight yarn, and while this is technically a light fingering, I am using a 4 millimeter gauge, and I'm getting a fairly similar gauge, 4 millimeter hook, and getting a very similar gauge. That's what I was trying to say. Look how pretty this is so far, though. Again, I wanted the texture of the yarn and the color of the yarn to really be the signature piece. So it's a simple, just a half double crochet. And it just, sometimes you need those mindless kind of crochet projects. But I want to finish the Harbor cardigan first. So this one is at least temporarily hibernating just until I can get that Harbor cardigan finished, and then I will pick that one back up. And in the meantime, I am trying to figure out whether I'm going to put this one on hiatus and do a different jacket, or what I'm going to do, but I need to make a decision on those things. It's driving me nuts. Okay, so besides the drama, the crochet drama, my life's been pretty quiet lately, which honestly is kind of a good thing. I'm still going to physical therapy for my shoulder, still doing a lot of exercises to kind of really work on the posture. If you didn't pick up, maybe I mentioned this, I don't remember, but I have shoulder impingement, which is apparently the precursor to a rotator cuff tear. And rather than do that, I'm doing the physical therapy to really keep my posture where it needs to be and do all of that kind of good stuff. So I have officially graduated. I still have to continue to do the PT on my own, but I've at least gotten to the point where they're like, yeah, you know what exercises to do, just keep doing those and you should be fine. So it is at least to where I can reach behind my back and buckle my bra now, whereas it was not that way when I first started PT. But I still got a little ways to go. I would say I was probably about 65%, maybe 70%. I'm getting there, but it's not quite there yet. So that's the major excitement. I do have a funny story to share, though. As I was having to redo the sleeves for these Harbor cardigans, I'm sitting here rewinding, and I'm using that Truboo yarn. The Truboo does not work on a winder. It just falls apart. It's just not. It's too slippery, so it does not work that way. The only way that I have found to work with the Truboo is in a ball form. And because I was so frustrated in that moment, the last thing I really wanted to do was frog it and ball it up again. So my husband, who is recovering from shoulder surgery and doing not much more than sitting on the couch, I volunteered him to ball up my yarn and frog my projects for me. And I wish I'd have gotten a picture. I should have gotten some video. It would have been great. But he's sitting there on the couch winding up my balls of yarn for me. Tell me, do you have a husband or somebody in your life that does that for you? I mean, I so appreciate the fact that he did that for me. It just saved me one little tiny piece of anxiety in that moment and allowed me to move on and work on something else at that point. So that's the fun story I wanted to share. And yeah, for next week, it's get that Harbor cardigan done, make a decision about this, and move forward on it, and see what yarn comes in. That should be an exciting thing. We'll see, and hopefully it doesn't have bugs. So, thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed this, make sure that you like and subscribe. And hey, Farah, take us out.